Guys, welcome to Aisle Planner. Aisle Planner is going to be the planning software that we use to stay up to date and on the same page to help create the wedding of your dreams. Now, before we start this tutorial, I'm going to give you a little side note. I am a mom of 3 and I have 2 fur babies, and not everybody's asleep right now. So if you hear any noise in the background, I am so sorry. Also, I am not editing this video. I'm doing it one time through. So if I mess up, just don't judge me, okay, guys? Okay, guys, let's jump right in. So, to start with, when you become a Veil Bride, you will receive an email that invites you to Aisle Planner. When you receive that email, you want to make your username and your password, and then you'll have access to your dashboard, which is what you're seeing right now. Now, this is not a real Veil Bride couple. You are not seeing anybody's personal information. This is just a sample so that I can make a tutorial to teach you how to navigate through Aisle Planner. So the dashboard is an overview of everything that's currently going on in your Aisle Planner. Important to-dos and important items are going to be over here. This is kind of an overview of your guest list to tell you how many is confirmed, waiting responses, decline, things like that. Your planning progress is over here to kind of show you as a whole where we are in your planning progress. And your budget is over here. Now, every bride hires us for different reasons. Some of you are hiring us for full planning, which means we are with you from the start. Others are only hiring us for a month of. If that is what you're hiring us for, then you probably won't have everything in your Aisle Planner that we're going to be going over. But it's just easier to teach Aisle Planner as a whole so that you know how to use it. So let's head over to checklists first. So checklists, we're going to, for the most part, be in the assignments overview. That's typically what we're going to be using. Assignment overview is just where I can assign myself or you tasks to do throughout the planning process, excuse me. I'll be over here, you'll be over here. I know brides normally handle most of the planning. If you want your groom to get tasks, then by all means let me know, and we can add him a username and put him in here as well and assign him some stuff. As you complete stuff, you just check it off right there. Super simple. You're probably going to want to check this about once a week, just to kind of see if I've added any tasks or if a task is coming due that you need to go ahead and take care of. Over here in the full checklist, guys, this is super helpful, but it is a little overwhelming. There is a lot of stuff on here because honestly, it is everything you could possibly think that you may need to make plan a wedding. We won't really be over here a whole lot just because it is super overwhelming. However, I will be assigning you tasks off of this. So I use this, and again, that will be over here in the assignment overview. But what I want you to do is when you first get into Aisle Planner, I want you to come in and I want you to check off anything that you have already done or that will not apply to your wedding. Now, technically, you can delete things that don't apply to your wedding. I'd prefer you not to do that simply because once you delete it, you cannot put it back. Or, well, it will not put it back. We have to figure out what you deleted and go back and add it back in. So I just prefer you to just check it off. That's the easiest way to do it, and it helps me know what I should be assigning. I don't want to assign things that you really don't need assigned to you. Okay? In case you decide you want to use the full checklist, you're more than welcome to. I'll show you the ways to view it. This was by due date, okay? And that's my personal favorite way to look at it, but you can also look at it by category. You can also hit this hide items if you don't want to see the things that we've already done. And then again, over here, you just click this and you can actually download it as a PDF, tell it what you want it to show, and print it. Moving to calendar, this is your planning calendar. Our calendars are synced, so anything you put in here will also go to my calendar to keep me up to date. I want things in here like your dress fittings, vendor meetings. If you have an invoice coming up, we'll put that information into Aisle Planner and it will tell you when it comes time for your invoice. If I've assigned you a task and the due date's coming up, it'll also show you that. Okay, click view options. You can choose what you want to see and say you're one of those girls that says, hey, my weekday really doesn't start till Monday. That's okay, we can change it, no problem. And then over here, you can click. And I know a lot of brides use an Outlook calendar or a Google calendar. If you use this URL, you can actually sync this to the calendar you're already using. All right, let's head over here to Timeline. So this is Timeline. Now, when you first get Aisle Planner, this will be blank. The timeline will not show until I have created it and released it to you. This is also not exactly what your timeline will look like. Mine will look a little different, but this is a pretty good sample of it. I like to have your vendors up here and contact information. But other than that, this will be like the rehearsal. And then down here is wedding day. Wedding day will be very detailed from the time you arrive to the time you're getting in your dress. If you do a first look, that'll be on here. The times that all the vendors will be showing up. Your ceremony, cocktail hour, reception, and we'll break reception down into special moments. It's just going to be very, very detailed so that you know exactly what's going on throughout your whole wedding day. If we're doing more than one event together, I can actually add another timeline. That's not a problem. You should not have the option to add or take away from the timeline. I have a way to restrict that, and the reason why I want to restrict it is if you accidentally do something, it can get really confusing. So you have say in your timeline for sure. If there's something you want to add or something you want to change, email me, let me know. I will be more than happy to change it on your timeline, no problem. I just ask that you don't change it in the actual program. Okay, if you click over here, you can download this as a PDF and say what you want it to show and print it. And you really don't have to worry about giving your vendor this timeline. I make sure that I send all the timelines out to every single vendor. I want us all to be working together to produce the best day we can for you. So I make sure that they have it and they know what time to be there and where to be. All right, let's head over to Design Studio, which is my favorite part, probably because I am a huge Pinterest fan, and this is pretty much Pinterest, guys. I mean, there's a little bit of a difference. There's some things in it that I love, and that's why I prefer us to use this Design Studio rather than Pinterest. You can still use Pinterest. Just make sure you save your Pinterest items to your desktop, and then you can upload it onto here. So basically, they have boards just like Pinterest. If you want to make a new board, you hit this new style guide. You choose the category for the board, and then you name the board. When you do that, it's going to create the board, and it's going to take you into the board. To add the images, you go over here to Add Image, and you just pull it from your desktop. This is actually one of my brides that I just did a sneak peek for today. And then it will put it in here. You can also hit Browse Inspiration, and like I said, it's just like Pinterest. Photographers have sent in images that they wanted published by Aisle Planner, so they published them, and now you can use them for inspiration. So they have tons and tons and tons and tons of photos, just like Pinterest would, that you can save to your boards. You can filter it by categories. You can choose real weddings, styled shoots, anything you want to. Now let me show you how it is different than Pinterest and why I love it so much. So when a picture is put into a board, if you click on it, it actually pulls the color palette of the picture, which is super helpful. And down here, you can make notes. So say that this image, you weren't really wanting these as your flowers. That's not the reason you put it in. You put it in there because this is actually the color palette you want for your wedding. Then down here, you can just make a little note that says, this is the color palette I'm considering for my wedding, and you hit submit, and it lets me know, and we can chat back and forth about it. Also, if you hit palettes, this is where we create you color palettes, which is super helpful and fun. All right, let's hit guests. This is your guest list. This is super, super, super helpful. It's a lot of information, so I'm going to go over it with you. I also want to just let you know, Aisle Planner changes. So the creators are very big about making this the easiest to use program and the most helpful program. So as they see things need to be added, they add them and they make updates. In fact, they just made an update this week that we'll go over. If you are watching this video and you see something in your Aisle Planner that is not in this video, and I'm going to try to update it as much as possible, but should that happen, then just reach out to me and I will be happy to go over it with you. So the first thing you want to do is you want to go over to your event info. And you want to fill in basically your event, the date, the time. If you have your menu, you want to go ahead and add that menu right here. Just click add. See? Really easy. Okay. And then I would also head over to manage groups. This is where you're going to be putting the groups of your guests. So if it is your fiance's family, your family, church friend, work friend, all those categories would be put right here. Okay. There we go. All right, to add a guest, you click here and you put their information in. So their names, if they have children, the group that they're in, and you create the guest. And it will put it down here for you. Now there's two ways to view this. Right now, we are viewing it in the guest parties, which means basically Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so. But you can click individual guests and it will show you all your individual guests instead of the groups. You can also click right here and put in more detailed information. So their names, if they have a job in your wedding, then that would go here. Their children, their address. You can put if they're out of town. If you received a gift, you want to check that. And then you want to check once you sent the thank you letter. And this just helps you to remember. You can put where, if they're coming to ceremony, reception. This A-list, B-list, C-list, I really don't have a lot of brides that use this. Basically, if you have like 100 people you can invite, but there's really like 200 people you want to invite, you can put the rest on the B-list, C-list, and as you get RSVPs back and seats open up, then you can pull from that list. You can put the responses here from the RSVPs. Because you've created your menu option, remember over here in the event info, once you create that, this will be created, which will make it where you can choose what they are having for dinner and if they have any restrictions. And then also it will ask you, does anybody need a wheelchair, high chair, if you need to put special notes, things like that. Okay, so that is how that works. You can also do guests for different events. Okay, let's see if we forgot anything in here. Oh, you can view it as cards if you don't want to view it by the list. Now let me show you something else, add guest. So you can add a guest in the actual program, or because ultimately what this is an Excel spreadsheet. That's what this part of the program is. So if you want to do it in Excel, you just hit this import guests and you download it either by the party or by the individual. So you want to download their template, take that into Excel, do your spreadsheet, and then you can upload it back in here. Okay? Other than that, this messages, that is the new thing that I was talking about. I haven't really had a chance to play with it yet because it literally was just added this week, but it's a way that you can email RSVPs as well. So you just click there and you put the information in and you can send the message. Okay. And if you click over here, you can make a final guest report. You can make a spreadsheet, so it gives you options there as well. All right, seating is your table seating chart. It's really easy. All your guests come over here from that guest list that we made, and you just take them and drag them to where you want them to go on which table. If you put someone somewhere that you don't want them to be, you just take it and pull it back. It's pretty easy. Oh, you know what? Let's go back for 1 second. There's something I want to explain over here in the guests before we move too far. It's not super important, but it might be confusing. So this is your RSVP number, okay? Now, when you make a guest, if you happen to delete it, say you messed up and you want to rewrite it, it's never going to be 102 again. It's going to assign it a new number, and it's for a really good reason. Let me explain. When you send out your invitations, sometimes it's a really good idea on the back of the RSVP that they're going to send back to put this number on their RSVP card. Because sometimes a couple forgets to write their names in, and then you get it back and you're like, oh my gosh, who just RSVP'd? I don't know who it was. Well, if you've used this system, you can just flip it over and you can find out which guest it was. And that actually happens a lot, so this comes in handy. Sorry to backtrack like that. I just want to make sure we go over that. Again, so this is your table, your seating chart. You can also do it for ceremony seating. So you can do it for more than just one thing. It's really, really super easy to use, a matter of just pulling where you want to go. Okay, contacts. Contacts is where we're going to be putting all your vendors, and this is really going to be helpful for full planning brides. So you can do this two ways. The people that you book will be in here. However, as you're speaking to different vendors, we still should put them in here so that we know who we're talking to for which category. All you do is hit add contact. You put their name in, put the category. See this booked right here sign? If you haven't booked them yet, just don't click it. And then you would hit add contact. Once you do that, it'll make the contact. You'll come in here and you'll put their information right here. And I also want you to put their contract in here, which is as easy as like pulling it from your computer screen and putting it right here in the comment section, hitting enter, it'll upload it. You can also hit files, pull it from your desktop, and it will also put it over here. But I definitely want your contract in there. And we can make notes and talk back and forth about the vendor as things are going on. You can also put invoices in here. Now, you will see your invoice and payment section over here. Do not worry about that. This is a little tricky, so I will happily go in there and do this for you. That's not a problem. And if you have somebody that you decided to book, say you had 4 people you were looking at for hair and makeup, then once you choose the one that you want to book, you just click booked, and then we'll go back and delete the ones you chose not to go with. And if you look at this is the contact sheet. This is just a very easy way to see all your vendors really easy. Next is budget. This is something you're welcome to play with if you want. Some brides do, some don't. You type in your overall budget right here, and you can even change this stuff if you want to. And you start just adding in as you book vendors. You start adding in the pricing and how much you owe and things like that. Lets you know if you're in the red or the green. This is something you're more than welcome to play with if you want to. It really does break it down really well for you. Okay. And finally is the notes section. So the notes section is just basically a way for me to talk with you. You will get a welcome letter in your notes section. Our first meeting notes will be in there right here. Also, if we do a phone call, then I like to put like phone call dash the date, and the notes will be in there just so we can always remember what we're talking about. I can also put things in there like, for instance, this person put cake tasting notes or your wedding playlist. All this stuff can be in here. It's just things that I want you to know, and it helps us also to remember phone calls and things like that. So guys, that's pretty much it. That is Aisle Planner. That's how it works. I am so excited to use this program with you and to create the wedding of your dreams. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I'd be more than happy to go over in detail more with you. And guys, I'm just so excited for your weddings. I just thank you for letting me be a part of it, and I will talk to you soon. Bye guys.